rise. Oh, no, 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 push it down. No, 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 don't feel nervous. No, become the insecurity, become the anxiety, wear it, and people will resonate with your nervous feeling, and you won't even come across as nervous anyway. So, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Become the insecurity, like wear it. It's really when you're doing that and you're showing that to people, it's taking away that shame. And I think when you try to hide your social anxiety, so when you get a social anxiety flare up, and I used to have it really bad, Lewis, like to the point where I didn't leave my room for like a year, 2 years. Like I had to,
Wow.
before I had to go work, I had to sit in my car and meditate for like 30 minutes just so I could go and say hello to people. Like it was really bad. But I would notice it would flare up more when I got stuck in my head that people would think I looked anxious and I was trying to hide away the anxiety. But I remember the first time I like really opened up and let the anxiety happen. And like I get it where my breath would start increasing, so my heart rate would go, my breath would start going, and I'd be like, oh, they know I'm like panting, they know I'm breathing really heavy. But like instead of like going, oh, what are they thinking? I just let the breath happen. I let that happen. And due to the nature of reality, things are flux, they come and go. And when I let that happen and I stepped out my own way, the anxiety came and it went. And then next thing I know, I'm having a conversation with someone. Like it was literally just the resistance to what is happening that was causing the anxiety. It was reinforcing and concretizing the anxiety. Instead of that just being a sensation that's going on in my body, I then had an idea that I need to be ashamed about it, which caused it to be reinforced and made it worse. But by just letting it happen, letting it come, then letting it go, you're literally just you're just being a vessel for that sensation, that energy, and it's just passing through you, and you're just continuing. And it's the resistance of anything. It's like what you resist persists, and if you continue to fight that anxiety, it's going to come back in stronger. So yeah, it's just letting go and letting the anxiety happen.
Hmm. What do you think contributed to your social anxiety, Alex? What do you think made you
Um,
socially anxious?
well, I had it in school. I always felt like alien, or never felt like I fit into anyone. I still get it to a certain extent now, but I have a completely different relationship with it, where it's not like a bad thing. Like anxiety comes up now, and it's just like, oh, there we are, anxiety's coming up again. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It was just just like you're all mate, yeah, what you doing, and then it just
Yeah.
passes. But um, yeah, I don't know. I think I did a lot of drugs, and I think this isn't talked about enough. I did a lot of cocaine, a lot of MDMA, and I don't think that helped with like just the chemistry of my brain. I think that to
Hmm.
even extent to this day has had an effect on me. But I think it was just my maybe it came from childhood trauma. My dad was always working. Maybe I didn't feel seen from my parents enough, and maybe that's there's a little version in me that wants to be seen by people, so it's put importance on social situations. But for me, it's just been a process of like letting all this come up and bubble up to my consciousness, so I can note it, I can become aware of it, and then I can just let it slide and go. And the more I become aware of things, the more I note things, and I'm like, yeah, that exists. There's a part of me. I like it, the psychoanalytical theory where they see the subcomponents of personalities. You're just made up of loads of different personalities, and there's a version of me, there's a personality in my psyche that didn't get has perceived himself as not getting enough attention, not getting enough love. And now he flares up in social situations. And it's my job to look at him and go, you're there, you exist, you're fine. Like, you're not going to die if a social situation goes wrong. And it's my job to like parent him. And yeah, that's how I've like dealt with social anxiety.
Wow. I mean, those are some hell of a inner work and inner realizations. What seems like you're now restoring order to the kingdom in the sense of, if your dad was working all of the time, maybe you didn't have the masculine king archetype to quell the nerves and to be your own king, and now that's the journey that you're on and you're revisiting that in your own way. What contributed to you taking drugs? Was it just a party thing, festivals and stuff, or was it like an
Um,
addiction?
a lot of it was I had no confidence. I had actually like zero confidence, especially around women. So like I would take a pill, and again, them self-limiting beliefs, them narratives would die off for a little bit. So I could go out and speak to a load of women, or I could drink loads. I could sniff cocaine, and I could speak to everyone. I could be like I felt like I could be authentic for the first time in my life. It was stripping back the narrative of the anxiety, but again, it was just an illusion because then drugs were making me feel good momentarily, but later on were causing more anxiety and more depression. So I was craving the thing that was causing me suffering. Um, so that was why I felt the need to do drugs. Also, I've had this like inner calling for altered states of consciousness ever since like 14. I remember listening to like Joe Rogan talking about DMT. It's like, I need to do that. I have to do that. There is a call within me that just loves maybe escaping my own mind and experiencing expansive consciousness. And I'm not sure if that's running away from something. I don't know where that comes from, but yeah, that was probably what contributed to me doing a load of drugs.
Hmm.